Let's talk about relationships once again, and I'll invite Graham in for a second, but you and I were just chatting about new relationships. Now, there are certain scenarios that we're going to have to traverse here, and I think it's quite important that we tap into it. So, a scenario around new relationships, you know that honeymoon phase where it's like, hey, where you from? No, I'm from here. And do you have any siblings? Okay, cool. If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go? And you know, it's still that sort of phase, but then you get to date number 3. And this is where I want to set this particular scene for you. Graham, have a seat. I'll make you coffee. Once again, it's a good lungo, okay? Because it's not going to be a lungo story, trust me. So okay, let's set the scene. Let's go to date number 3, right? We've had first date, we had second date, we're on third date.
So you're keen?
Right?
You're there, you're present and you're ready, okay.
Conversation is this.
Right.
Hey, do you want to go to a restaurant?
Hey.
Fancy restaurant.
Ooh.
You know that the fancy restaurant's a bit out of your budget. You say nothing, you accept the date.
Ooh.
Okay. Now, you get there. Bill comes after a beautiful evening. You know, someone with a harp playing in the corner there.
You had the Wagyu.
The waiter's called the maitre d'.
Yeah.
You know, that's
how
ushering
you to
That's
your table
correct. You know what I'm
personally.
saying? Someone has your coat.
Yeah.
They did the serviette
That's
for
it.
you.
Give you a warm towel. You know what I'm saying, okay?
Gee whiz.
She was, if only we just created our perfect restaurant. All right, so in that moment, knowing what your financial means are, you accepted the date, what do you do in this particular scenario? Do you, right, just accept the bill as it is? Or are you going to be bold enough and you kind of gesture to split the bill after accepting said date? Third date, fancy restaurant. Graham, I'm going to go with you first. Thoughts?
I'm getting like a mild terrified feeling like this has actually happened to me before. I have a feeling I've been in this very scenario where as a young man, you think it's almost part of the game. Okay. You want to wow them. And I can still remember there was a particular restaurant that I would often go to. Okay. It was one of the few that first kind of put it up there as the bougie type thing. And I would end up spending like 2/3 of my month's salary on one meal and then not be able to eat for the next 2 weeks. But I'd be cool because she thought I could roll like that. But when it gets real in that moment, I'm trying to think if I've actually had to ask to split the bill to go Dutch because, you know, it's a tough one, but I suppose you got to do what you got to do in that moment. How else do you play it? I don't know.
Well, it depends how much you like this person. No, I'm just kidding. Look, if you guys, if I'm on a kind of third date like this, and obviously a little bit of groundwork has been done, obviously, and you really know now, I do like this person. I think the credit card will come out and I'll figure it out later. But the problem with that is, what's the premise that you're setting?
It sets a precedent,
Yeah, like, you know, is this something that you're going to be able to upkeep?
Okay.
With the relationship going further. But I mean, it is one of the situations. Obviously, I can speak about it from my point of view, being a guy, where I feel the need to, listen, this is my treat. Even though you invited me, you know, I said yes.
But or just set it up from the beginning and say, listen, that's beyond my budget.
I was going to ask
Maybe we can go Dutch
on the
and
third date. Let's
have
be
a
honest.
fun,
really?
Have a fun time. But yeah, I don't know, man.
Like it's a third date. You've literally just met this person. It's like, I'm sorry, I can't afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess honesty is the best policy at the end of the day, but
you can joke about it, I suppose, and test those waters and kind of like, okay, well, that'll be the only meal we're going to eat out this month.
When she goes like, what? Really? Then you go like, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So how would you feel about on a third date with this person that you kind of like? I mean, would you be okay saying, I actually don't have the money to go to that fancy restaurant. Can we pick a different restaurant? Do you, but
I suppose that would speak to the level of honesty that you've had building up to that point. Because if you've created this premise that you're somebody else, and then on date 3, you're already unpicking that tapestry, it's a thing. So I suppose you've got to be honest about who and where you are from the beginning, so this doesn't come as like a bomb drop.
Yeah, you've got a student loan. You're doing this, you're doing that. I mean, like, maybe you should be honest with those.
I mean, on the third
but
date,
some people don't like
trying to impress a little bit.
That's the thing. So I was going to ask this. Like, how do you drop the ego and the pride in that particular moment?
But if she's needing to be impressed by that, then maybe you're on the wrong path. Maybe your honesty is what impresses her.
Look, we're speaking from our perspective, but maybe it's not, you know, that she wants to be impressed.
Yes.
You know, it's basically ego, this like, oh, this restaurant is very bougie and it's very expensive, but it was close to my home.
Yeah.
Save the petrol, baby.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, my word.
Different realities, I suppose.
I think it's such a personal thing, though.
Well, maybe this is a catalyst for that conversation we've been having all morning with regard to relationships. Maybe it is about having open communication from the get-go and dropping the ego and the pride. And the thing is, if the person wants to leave because you're not of the financial means to go to a fancy restaurant, then they're not for you.
Yeah, that's your red flag.
There we go.
We talk about the red
Right?
flags. You've got a very clean answer right
So
there.
the thing
also,
is,
yeah.
the thing is, this is the third date. You can say like, "Okay, cool, you've invited me, but
Yeah.
listen, I can cook. I'll make you
I guarantee
a
you.
proper
Fancy.
meal."
I'll make
So
you
you
better
basically cover yourself like that. There's ways, people. There's ways.
If you bring the ingredients to
Carl's
my
head's
house,
spinning right now.
No, I think I'm hearing this and I'm enjoying this, and that's why I put you in this scenario, because I think it's that the communication thing, why not normalize the honest communication from the get-go? Because trust me, that person's not going to stick around because you can't afford a meal at a fancy restaurant. Then definitely not for you. That could be what they would call a beige flag, which is something that we still need to chat about. But that's where we are for now. Please feel free to weigh in. We love it when you chat to us. And also a little later, we've got Councillor Ash here, who will be chatting a bit more about trust and developing that trust with kids a little bit later. So make sure
Love
you stick
that.
around at your Feel Good Breakfast Show.